Good evening and welcome out everyone to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank. I'll be taking you to the tackle trading website here this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know where things are, when they are, all of that fun stuff. We are just a community of traders have come together to navigate these markets together, in a very simplistic way to put it. That's, how I always think about tackle trading. We don't have to, no one can ever make my trades for me, but I don't have to be alone as I navigate the market. Before we dive into the tackle trading platform, just a couple of really quick things. I would just point out the Trading Justice podcast. I'm right now, and we'll talk about this in more depth, but right now, I'm in the Trade Center here, and you'll find a link to the tradingjustice.com in here. Each week, Coach Matt, Tim, and Mark will do the Trading Justice podcast. Always a great listen. You can find it on all of your major providers, or you can be like me and just listen to it right here directly on tradingjustice.com. There's also a great monthly newsletter that you'll find over at Trading Justice. It's very much worth reading each month. So that is tradingjustice.com, the Trading Justice podcast. There's also the Huddle podcast, just to talk about the top 5 stories of the day. You'll find that up top here on Tackle Trading. Talk about the top 5 stories of the day, quick and efficiently and in a bias-free manner. At the end of the day, just so you can stay on top of the market. It's a much shorter podcast than the TJ podcast, but certainly a great addition, in my opinion, at least, to your daily routine. So you can find the Huddle at the top, here at Tackle Trading, and then the tradingjustice.com, and there is a link to Trading Justice directly in the Trade Center. Both of those podcasts, I do think, can be very, very good additions to your daily or weekly trading routines. With all that said, let's dive right into tackle trading and let's talk a little bit about it. I always break tackle trading down into 3 core areas when I'm talking to, taking people through it. Things that you can do on your own. That'll be some of the tools that we've got here in the Trade Center. That'll be some of our courses. That'll be our blogs, things that you can do, in the middle of the night, on Saturday morning, anytime, depending on where you are as a trader. Then we've got things that you can do with others. That's going to be the schedule. We're going to be doing live content each market day, and we'll walk through that side of things. And then lastly, that third area is our weekend reports, where at the end of each week, we as coaches come together to put together our tackle newsletter, our stock, options, commodity, and Forex reports to prep our team for some new ideas going into the upcoming week. So we'll kind of come at it from that point of view here this evening. We'll start with the first area, things that you can do on your own. Right now, I'm in the Trade Center. And in the Trade Center, we're going to come back to it, but we're going to find some tools. But when you go directly into the Trade Center, if you just click on this button here, it's kind of taking you to a what's up at tackle trading page. What's our next show, our most recent posts, most recent report, last tweet. There is a watch list function in here. I imagine you're keeping your watch list on your own trading platform, but if you want to have easy access to it directly here at Tackle Trading, can easily do that. You just throw in the symbol that you want. Say you wanted to add Johnson & Johnson to your watch list. I'm just going to select that. I'm going to hit this plus button up here, and now Johnson & Johnson is in this watch list. If I decide I don't want them anymore, I'll just select them and hit that little minus button and get rid of it. So it's easy. It's nice, in my opinion, to have a watch list on a place that's just purely web-based. So you don't have to log into your trading platform necessarily if you just want to quickly check what's going on. So that's one of those that maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but that's how you'll use that watch list in here. There's going to be a little mini calendar of the next couple of days, so, we'll talk more about that as we move forward, but just kind of a little mini, what does the next couple of days look like? If you're taking any courses, it'll let you know where you left off, so you can pick right back up without having to, pause and rewind and where exactly did I leave again. So just kind of a what's up at tackle trading page. You'll find a market skyline in here as well. In here, you're going to find the charts for all of the big things. Again, most of these things are probably built into your trading platform, I would imagine, because they're critical parts of a daily routine for traders. But it is nice to have an easy one place to go to quickly look at them. We're going to have our big indexes, the S&P. These are the futures contracts, of course, but the S&P, the Dow, the Nasdaq, the Russell, Bitcoin, the emerging markets ETF, the major commodities, gold, silver, copper, crude, etc. The sector Spyder ETFs. If you're not familiar with the sector Spyder ETFs, just very quickly what they are is they'll go into the S&P 500 and pull out just the stocks in that sector. So XLF, for example, is the financial sector ETF. We go into the S&P, we pull out just those financial stocks, we put them in a portfolio and weight it accordingly. And now we've got a little bit more of an isolated look at the financial sector. Financial sector has been strong, but today definitely was some profit taking going on in there. Whereas maybe we compare that to, say, the technology sector, also been very strong and really almost a no sell day today. So these ETFs, they are ETFs, they are tradable. You can learn more about them at www.sectorspdr.com. That is the ETF provider's website if you want to take a closer look. They're just a nice, easy way to kind of quickly see what sectors are standing out, whether it's specifically from a today point of view, an overall point of view, a technical pattern point of view, whatever the case might be. These ETFs are very liquid and are optionable as well. So these are just things that, it's really helpful to kind of follow along with the market, right? And we do need to have these things in our watch list. There's also a link right here in the heat maps link that'll take you to a FinViz heat map for the S&P 500 for today. This is free FinViz. I am not a subscriber, and so I just use their free. All that matters to me is I can take a look at it. I do have to click off a few ads, but I'm all right with that. And it's a quick visual to kind of see, hey, what stood out in the market today? Again, we kind of saw this as we were looking through. There was a lot of selling over in finance, right? But when we looked at the XLF ETF, it doesn't look like we really broke trend or anything. It just looked like there was a lot of profit taking from last week's run as we worked into resistance. But we can really see that that's where a good chunk of selling, whereas in some of our technology, our communications, our cyclicals, our healthcare, we can kind of see where the strength is. So it's just a visual of what the day looked like. It's defaulted to an S&P 500 for the day. You can, look at, the world if you would like to. You can look at, weekly performance, monthly, quarterly, yearly, certain fundamental ratios. So there's a little bit of customization in here as well. So that's what will this little open heat map button will get you. As well. The news aggregator is just going to go through some of the bigger financial websites. We got Wall Street Journal, we got Market Watch, we got CNBC, and just kind of going through those sites and kind of grabbing the headlines and getting them all in one place where it's very easy to scroll down, see if there's anything that catches your interest. You've been trading Zoom or following Zoom, you might be interested in reading about its earnings, right? If it's a stock that you don't have, care at all about, it's probably not that interesting of a story, right? So it's just really designed to save you a bunch of bouncing around and clicks. So we can still check the news, we can still read the headlines that are interesting to us, but we don't have to, bounce around from 3 or 4 different websites and play that fun game. We've got an economic calendar in here, so if you need to see what's on the docket for the day or for the upcoming week, we've got another link to our market reports. We've got a link to our trade journals. Journaling your trades is, of course, very, very important, right? Every trade that we make is data if we allow it to be so, and we need to make sure that we are collecting that data. You can also get to the trade journals just in the drop down of the Trade Center. You'll find the trade journals in there as well, where you can get them downloaded. If we're coming into it from the Trade Center like we did, you will find the tutorial on how to use that journal. It is in spreadsheet format. You may or may not find it, very easy to pick up. Some people do, some people don't. Some of us aren't spreadsheet people, but it is important to do. We've got our, traditional trading journal. We've got our cash flow journal, as well as our portfolio journal. Again, you can catch the download on that little drop down there. And if you need a little bit of help on how to use that trading journal, this tutorial should hopefully get you pointed in the right direction. There will be a link to a compounding gains calculator, a chart if you ever need one, our glossary, our search function, which you can also find our search function right up here, this little magnifying glass, and you can also find our glossary in the drop down of the Trade Center itself. So just kind of a what's up at Tackle Trading, some different tools to make your daily routine hopefully a little bit smoother and efficient. Of course, when I think about things that you can do on your own, the thing that really, comes to my mind first and foremost is, the courses that are available. We have lots of courses available to all of our pro members, as well as a handful of premium systems, which I'll, talk you through here in just a minute. But let's start with a 7-step guide to trading. We are top-down traders at Tackle Trading, and no two traders are the same. right? I mean, there's no, there's no two traders agree on absolutely everything. But I think as a whole and as a community, we do believe in taking that top-down approach. So we start at the top of the market, working through the broad markets into the sectors and the commodities, and then into the stocks to kind of, try not to swim upstream, right? It's a lot easier to go with the flow as a trader. Just ask all the bears as of late, right? Matching our strategy. How do we choose our strategy? Right, based off of the technical situation or the price of the options, things like that. How do we find our trades? We're big watch list traders here at Tackle Trading, where we'll kind of identify, hey, if this happens, we're interested, right? And so, how do we find these trades? Of course, we need to plan them, place them, manage them, and of course, journal those trades. The 7-step guide to trading course should give you a better idea of kind of the tackle trading approach to the markets. If you're a newer trader, it'll probably be really, really helpful in getting you organized a little bit. I think for most of us as newer traders, we're a little bit all over the map. We're working hard, but we might not be all that productive. And so hopefully, if you're a newer trader, this can really help clean that up. If you're a veteran trader, I'm sure you already have a routine that suits you well, that you feel comfortable with. But maybe you get a couple of ideas out of this as well. So that is the 7-step guide to trading course. As traders, charting matters, and it matters a lot. And that's true no matter what kind of a trader you call yourself, right? You might say, I'm a day trader, I'm a crypto trader, I'm a swing trader, I'm a position trader, I'm a cash flow trader, whatever way we describe ourselves, right? As traders, all of us are using charts and technical analysis to guide us, right? It's how we're building our systems and managing our trades and setting our targets and all that fun stuff. So the technical analysis course, as you can imagine, is just going to talk charts, and more charts. Right. Again, if you're a newer trader to the market, that is a critical skill set to acquire. You'll get better and better as you get more time and experience under your belt for sure. But we can build, in my opinion, we can build a fairly strong technical foundation quickly, and then as we go, we can build on it. And just like everything else in life, the little things tend to take the longest, right? Even if you're a veteran trader, I've never met the trader, myself included, that was always right on their technical analysis, right? So we can always improve, always get a little bit better at that charting. The Options 101 course is really going to take you through what's going on in the world of options. So we're not going to talk about a whole bunch of different strategies. I'll show you here in a bit where we can find our strategies and all of that fun stuff. But if we don't understand why that option that you just bought or sold is doing the things it's doing, it's going to be really hard to get those strategies figured out. We need to understand how time impacts it, how movement impacts it, how volatility impacts it, right? We need to figure out is it liquid? Can we get in and out of it? All of that fun stuff. And that's really what the Options 101 course is designed to do, to make sure you understand, and not just the textbook definition, right? I think we all start there, but we really need to understand why those options do the things they do, why they move the way they move. Everything else is going to be a lot smoother if we truly understand that side of it. If you've ever been interested in learning about the futures or the currency market, we have introductions to those markets as well through the futures or the Forex 101 course. I've talked to a lot of traders, and I felt this way too about futures in my early days as a trader. I felt the futures market was too big, too advanced, too crazy, whatever. And I didn't, even look into it for years into my trading career. I didn't need to feel that way. It's okay if you don't like futures, no big deal. You don't have to you trade whatever you want, right? That's what's awesome about the markets. We don't have to trade everything, but I never want someone to feel like, well, this market's too big for you. You can't play in it, right? So, but there are certain things that we need to understand about those markets, right? They're both very highly leveraged markets. We really understand what that means. There's definitely going to be some nuance in there. And so if you've ever been interested in learning a little bit more about those markets, or one of those markets, can be a great place to start. Whether you're trading futures, Forex, whatever, stock, options, a little bit of everything, right? It is very important to have clearly designed systems, rules governing our actions. And I think every trader ever would agree with that at face value. I've never met the trader that said, let's just wing it and hope for the best. We understand that we do need to have rules and systems in place, but it's one thing to know that we need to do it. It's another thing to actually implement it, right? For a lot of us, we don't naturally think in those terms when it comes to our trading. The system development course is really designed to train you to become a systems builder when it comes to trading. It is an awesome course, whether you're new, been trading 20 years, anything in the middle, whatever the products you like to trade. I cannot encourage you enough to take some time to work through that system development course. It'll very, very much be worth that time. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a handful of premium systems, and what these are, they're a one-time purchase. The system, they're actual systems. The system is yours for life. Once a month, we get together with members of that team in a mastermind group. I'll just quickly let you know what they are. And if you want some more information, you can hop over into the store or send us an email to team@Tackle Trading. We'd be happy to get you some more info on it. The Tackle 25 is a covered call system. Each year we put together the Tackle 25 kind of with the idea to sell covered calls throughout the upcoming year. So it's really a covered call based system. The STEP system is our swing trading system, just stands for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow condors, another cash flow system, this time on the Russell 2000 through credit spreads. And the bear market survival guide, kind of protecting ourselves from bearish turns in the market while we're in bull markets, and then dealing with bearish markets once we get into them. If you want, like I said, if you want any more information on any of these, the store is a great place to start, but don't hesitate. Send us an email to team@tackletrading.com, and we would be more than happy to get you some more information on any or all of those premium systems. Not everything has to be a course, right? We do blog content each week as well, whether it's more charting and Tales of a Technician, more on options in the option theory blog, taking concepts kind of from the ground up with Coach Greg over in the Rookie Corner, hearing from Coach M on our awesome female trading community and the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be short reads, right? Five-minute type of reads, but just another way that we can reach out, share ideas with members of the team throughout the week and the month. So do keep an eye on the blog content. A lot of fun ideas get shared around in those blogs as well. The Clubhouse is kind of our own personal social media. So while we are, do have a presence on all of the, major social medias, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera. The Clubhouse is just us. It's just trading. It's where, you can get in if you have a question, you can present it to the community, and then, collectively we can, share ideas. If you got a chart set up that you want to share with the community, you can always share it with me. I'm always interested in a good setup. Just a place where you can, reach out and bounce ideas around with other traders, right? It's a lot of fun. I certainly invite you to join us over in that Clubhouse. It's always a great place to get a little bit of feedback. So that's going to kind of highlight some of the big things that you can do on your own. Now, as we kind of work into the things that you can do with others, talk about our schedule, most of our shows are going to be recorded and archived. So you can always go back in and listen to previous episodes on subjects that interest you. But we'll kind of get into that as we get going here. Let's kind of talk about the daily schedule, or the market day schedule, right? Every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we get together in our traders lounge. We'll get together for an hour, and it's just a place where our team members can come in and ask the questions that they need to ask, whatever that might mean, right? It might mean maybe you've got a trade going on and you just want to bounce some management ideas around. Maybe you're really struggling with a particular strategy, and it'd be helpful to kind of, walk through it from beginning to end. Maybe you've got a great looking chart set up, you think, and you want to get some other eyes and opinions on it. Maybe you're struggling with your routine. Who knows, right? We all need a little help from time to time. And the Traders Lounge is really designed for our team to get in and ask the questions to one of our coaches and walk through the answer with you. You're always welcome. If the market's open, you can expect the lounge will be up and rocking and rolling at 11 a.m. Eastern. It'll go for an hour. This is going to be the one show that we don't regularly record because, let's be honest, nobody's going to go back and listen to one from 7 months ago, right? But it's not a big deal for us to do little snippets, and we will do that fairly regularly, where we'll record a portion of the lounge. If it's one of those topics that can be just as useful, 6 months from now as today, not a big deal to hit the record button and get that posted in here. If your schedule is such that you just can't join, you can't make it, but you need some help and are having some questions, just let us know. Send us an email. Say, hey, look, I'm struggling with this. It'd be really helpful to go over this, but I can't make it to the lounge because I'm at work at 11 Eastern or whatever. We're always happy to do our best to accommodate. So don't hesitate if that's the situation that you find yourself in. But it's every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern right here at Tackle Trading. Then shortly after, we'll head over to our YouTube channel at 12:30 Eastern for the Tackle Trading Halftime Report. It's a live looking at the market where we're going to go through that daily routine. We're going to take that top-down approach, right? So we're going to, look at the indexes, talk about, what's moving the market today, how is it impacting those charts. We're going to talk about the different, products, gold, oil, Bitcoin, right? We can talk stocks in the news, sectors. We're really going to work through that daily routine to kind of follow along with the markets. It's a lot of fun hanging out with the team live over on our YouTube channel. Certainly invite you to join us over there. Of course, being on YouTube, once the live stream is over, it does automatically populate over on the YouTube page, and a lot of people catch it a little bit later. But it's a great addition to the daily routine. So every market day, we will be doing the lounge here at 11 at Tackle Trading, and then at 12:30, hopping over to YouTube to do the halftime report. So we'll be working through the markets with you each and every day. Then we're going to have our evening schedule, and so let's talk a little bit about that. On Monday nights, we do this onboarding webinar, just walking through the site with anybody who's new to us or checking us out for the first time, just to hopefully give a little more clarity. No two are tremendously different from one another, but you're always welcome if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, to catch the recording or catch it on a Monday night. Our Tuesday night coaches show is what I would probably consider our flagship show. We're a couple of days into the market. It's Tuesday night, right? So we can do a quick market skyline. We can see, what sectors or industries are really standing out, whether it's, from a bullish or a bearish or a cash flow perspective, to maybe, get some ideas as we go into the middle to the second half of the week. But what I really like about the coaches show is it allows us to just talk trading, right? And it allows us to be a little bit focused. There's so many things that we could talk about in trading, right? From strategies to patterns to indicators to routine to portfolio design, and a million other things, right? And they're all fun to talk about, but sometimes you just need to sit down and have an in-depth discussion on one of them, right? Let's just talk about trading breakouts, right? Or let's just talk about how we can use these moving averages or whatever it might be. And that's what I love about the coaches show. It really allows us to have those in-depth conversations on one of the many interesting subjects. We'll always try to keep it topical, right? And applicable to today's market. Because I think that's the most sensible way. You always go with what's happening right in the market. So that's the coaches show. The coaches show will be recorded and archived. It's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights. But if you can't make it, or if you need to rewatch it, or if you want to watch a previous episode, very, very easy to do. Again, that's the coaches show Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Thursday nights, once again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our cash flow club. That's going to be a little more narrowly focused on those cash flow strategies, both building and managing those strategies, right? So our credit spreads, our naked puts, our covered calls, et cetera. We're big cash flow traders as a community here at Tackle Trading. I think it's a part of what probably most of us do within our trading, not the only part, but certainly a part. We need to learn how to build and manage those trades, right? And so, we really can focus on that side of the trading world each Thursday night over in the Cash Flow Club. Just like the coaches show, it is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live, or if you need to rewatch it or whatever, very, very easy to do. You'll find all of that if you just click the link there. So that's our Thursday night show. On Wednesday nights, we do two things. So I'm going to come back over to the Trade Center into the events calendar here as we kind of talk through this a little bit. On Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel, we do our Trade Masters webinar, where a couple of the coaches will get together with a few trade ideas, bounce them around with Coach Mark and members of our team. And at the end, Mark will declare a winner. But really, it's just a great way where we can share ideas, build up that midweek watch list, and things of that nature. It's a lot of fun to be able to talk through your trade ideas with other traders for sure. So that's live at YouTube on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern. Then shortly after that, we're going to come back over to Tackle Trading for our Wednesday night Traders Lounge at 8:30 Eastern. We can talk about any of the trade setups or trade ideas that we talked about in the Trade Masters webinar in more detail. We can answer any other questions that you might be having, right? It's just another place where maybe you can never make it to the Traders Lounge because you're at work, Monday through Friday at 11 Eastern, but maybe you can make it to the Wednesday night and you can get your questions answered there. So just another way that we can make sure that we're available to our team members. So it's kind of a two for one, I guess, on Wednesday nights. Trade Masters here on YouTube at 7, Traders Lounge at 8:30 back over at Tackle Trading. So that's for the Wednesday night shows. And then on Friday, and I'm going to come back to this shows tab, you're going to see a Mind of a Trader right here. There's actually 2 Mind of a Traders, so it's a little easier to explain it as we're looking at the events calendar. On Fridays, Coach Mark does his At the Closing Bell webinar a little bit before the market closes. Just to answer any last minute questions going into the weekend, bounce around trade ideas, management ideas, all of that fun stuff. He also presents his commodity report live to the team in his Friday Mind of a Trader. So another great way to be able to get together with your teammates and bounce ideas around and ask questions, get any help that you might need. And then he does also on Sunday nights. It'll probably be Monday night this next week because of the Labor Day weekend. But usually it is Sunday night, unless there's a weird Monday holiday. We're a few hours. It's at 8:30 Eastern. Few hours into the futures market, right? And based off of that futures, anything change, anything standing out? Again, bouncing ideas around with the team, answering the team's questions. So that's the weekend prep class. So there are 2 different Mind of a Traders. The easiest way to get into them, or really any other show, is probably just to come into the events calendar, click on the show you're looking to join. You'll get the information, the links, or whatever you need to send you to the show. But that is the Mind of a Trader. Again, just Fridays, and Sunday nights. Just another way to be around with members of the team. We also have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading. Awesome gals, a lot of fun to be around, great people, great traders. They get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. I, of course, don't get to go to that, so I can't tell you exactly what happens there, but I have no doubt that they're having a lot of fun and they're getting a lot of good work done along the way. If you're a woman in trading, or if you've got a woman in your life, a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, whatever, that is interested in trading, I would definitely encourage you to connect her with the Women in Trading. We'll keep you posted. That one does tend to be towards the end of the month, it seems like to me. But again, I'm not the guy that gets to go, right? I'm a guy in trading. But we'll make sure that we do promote it, that we let you know that it's on the horizon. And so if you are going to join, and I would definitely encourage you to do so, if you're a woman in trading, I think you'll get a lot out of it for sure. So that's going to be kind of what the schedule looks like. And a very oversimplified way to think about it, I would say, is the morning lounge is for your questions, specifically what you need, right? Any member of our team is welcome to come in and ask the questions that they have. There's nothing too basic. There's nothing too advanced. It doesn't matter if you're struggling with it. If you need some help, we're here to help you. So it's really focused on you and your questions in the lounge. Then the halftime report is really focused on the daily routine and that top-down analysis, working the markets, right? And then the evening shows are really where we can kind of dive into the teaching side of things, the application side of things, all of that fun stuff. And while that is an overly simplified way to put it, because there's of course going to be a little bit of mixing, right? So in all of the shows, probably that might be an easy way to kind of keep it organized, at least the approach that we take. We want to make sure that we're keeping our team as busy as they want to be, right? We're going to be here each day in a lot of different ways. And we want our team members to have everything that they need to succeed. So that is going to be the schedule. We've recently launched our trading labs just a little over a month or so ago now. We've got 3 different trading labs with Coach Mark, Coach Tyler, and Coach Emily. Each week, they'll get together with members of their team. They are a subscription product. Again, you can find more information on them in the store, but they'll get together each week with members of their team, as well as stay connected with them in a private Discord channel. I've heard a lot of great feedback from folks who are working those trading labs. So if you are interested, be sure to reach out to us. Team at Tackle Trading. You can get more information in the store as well, and we'd be happy to give you a little bit more assistance on that end. But heard great feedback from all three of the different trading labs in a very short period of time. Not been pretty darn new. Only a month or so into it. So that's going to be our live content that we're doing here each and every week. Let's kind of shift into that third area of tackle trading, and that's our weekend reports. So what we're doing on Fridays here as a team of coaches at Tackle Trading is getting together. We're talking markets, we're talking sectors, we're talking commodities, we're talking currencies, we're talking trade setups as we're preparing for the upcoming week in the market. And what we call it internally, we call it our scouting report meeting. It's a lot of fun to sit down with a bunch of traders and talk through ideas for sure. Out of that meeting comes our weekend reports, our tackle newsletter, our stock report, options report, commodity report, and Forex report. We'll get these delivered to our team members by Saturday afternoon, so they have plenty of time to work through any or all of them before the markets get back up and running. We are top-down traders, right? The first step in the 7-step guide to trading is start at the top of the market, and that's exactly what we're doing in the Tackle newsletter. So let's start here. Let's go to this week's newsletter. I always say the market's a soap opera, and what I mean by that is, I don't watch actual soap operas, but I watch plenty of soapy shows. I was a huge Supernatural fan. I watched every single episode a lot more than once. And anytime somebody would catch me watching it, they would wonder why. But it's because I've been following it since the beginning. And, it's all just one big story arc, right? But if you tried to jump in season 7, episode 4, you'd probably be really lost and probably not want to watch it. I'd probably feel the same way. I think the market's a lot like that, in the sense that if we follow along each day and make some time in our life for it, we're not coming in cold every single day that we look at the market, right? And that's really what we're going to focus on in the newsletter. So, we're going to talk about, what really happened in this last week in the market, right? What was going on? What was moving the market? What's the sentiment like? All of that fun stuff, right? Following that story of the market. We're going to highlight the upcoming economic calendar that could potentially have at least a little bit of market moving capabilities. Of course, we'll have a video going through all of this stuff and talking you through our thought process as well. Where are the major indexes? Where's the S&P? Where's the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the RUT? How are we seeing them going into the upcoming week? There are the ETFs that at least the major ETFs. There are others out there as well, but these are kind of the big ones that track these indexes. So I imagine you're probably familiar with them, but just really quickly, in case you're not, DIA tracks the Dow Jones, QQQ tracks the NASDAQ, IWM tracks the Russell 2000, and SPY tracks the S&P 500. So if I just want to trade the broad market, I just want to trade the S&P 500, I don't want to go stock picking or whatever it is, I can very easily trade the SPY through stock, through options, through whatever I want to do. So, it's nice to be able to do that, even though that's generally not the way I approach the market. It's sometimes is, right? And it's nice having that availability. Take a look at the new highs versus the new lows, right? We want to look at the internals of the market to see, how strong or relatively weak things are, right? And what we're doing here is looking at over 8,000 stocks to seeing, who's really out there putting in new highs, and who's really out there putting in new lows, to get a closer look at the internals of the market. A lot of times when you look at like an index like the S&P 500, for example, it's so weighted at the top, right? And that's fine. It is what it is, right? But the S&P is so weighted to things like Apple and Google and Amazon, right? Because they're such huge companies that sometimes just looking at the chart for the S&P 500 can be a little bit misleading. So we want to look at the internals a little bit closer. That's what we're doing here on that. Get closer on the closer look on the advanced decliner. The seasonality chart from a historical perspective. What does the market tend to do this time of year? Well, we don't want to overvalue that information. It's also helpful information to have, right? And so we have to kind of walk that line. But what does the market tend to do? Well, as we're coming into September now, we're hanging out. It's the end of August. historically speaking, we get a pop and drop in September. Doesn't mean that'll happen again. I wish it were that simple, but historical data comes from history, right? So it does give us a little idea. I always kind of think about the fourth quarter. Typically speaking, the fourth quarter is really, really strong. It was very, very strong last year. A couple of years ago, though, it was really, really weak, right? So just understanding, how the market typically performs this time of year can be very, very helpful for us. In a similar vein, what sectors tend to perform, relatively speaking, the strong, the best or the worst each month. Speaking of sectors, every week we're going to rank the sectors based off of the stocks that are in those sectors, right? That make up those ETFs, those sector Spyder ETFs. We're going through all of them every single week, every single Friday as we're ranking the sectors. So we can kind of let you know based off of what we're seeing within each of these different spaces, what do we like in a little more than last week, a lot more than last week, a little less than last week, the same as last week, a lot less than last week, right? So you can kind of get an idea of at least how we're viewing the sectors going into the upcoming week. We're going to break them down in the sectors into three core areas. We'll also do the S&P 500, but we're going to have our growth sectors. That's going to be technology, communications, and discretionary. Then we're going to have our cyclical sectors. That's the financials, industrials, materials, and energy sectors. And then our defensive sectors, that's healthcare, staples, real estate, and utilities. So blue, yellow, and I don't know, reddish brown. I don't know what color that is. So purple-ish. We'll go with that. We'll be ranking these each week. We'll be moving them up or down according to what we're seeing on the stocks within them. We'll talk you through kind of the reasoning, the thought process, and all of that fun stuff in the video itself, so you have a better idea. But again, if you think about things as a story, this is going to be, every week it's going to move a little bit, right? Based off of what's happened in the market. And as you follow along, I think it'll get easier and easier to do. As you can kind of see here, we've got a football field. So, between the 40s, we're pretty neutral. We might skew it one way or the other, but fairly neutral on that sector. If we're plus or minus one between the 20s and 40s, kind of let you know that we're leaning to the bull or to the bear side, or slightly bullish or bearish. If we're in the 20 to the goal line, we're at +2 or -2 territory. That means we're seeing a lot of strength or weakness. It's going to be very, very rare, if ever. You never say never, but it's really going to be super rare, and quite possibly would be never, but you never say never, that we're going to put an entire sector or something like that into the end zone. It's just, we're not that aggressive as a team and as a community here at Tackle Trading. So it's very common to have a plus or -3 on an individual stock setup, and I have that all the time, but I never have an entire sector, even if I love it, in +3 or -3 territory. It's just really not who I am, and it's really not who we are at Tackle Trading. So that just to kind of let you know. But we want you to understand kind of what we're seeing within each of these sectors every single week. So that's what we're doing there. Again, there will be another list of the sector Spyder ETFs if you need them. There's also going to be a little bit of write-up on how these things are built, so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on within them. It is helpful to understand them. Technology makes up a big chunk of the S&P 500, almost 28%, right? So whereas energy or real estate, these are relatively speaking small, right, within that. So we do need to kind of understand how that is moving along. You can also find, again, more information at sectorspdr.com, which is the actual website for the ETF provider. A friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a couple of minutes when we talk about the playbook, but we always want to match the strategy to the situation, or at least our read of the situation, right? So if you think the market's going to slowly but surely grind up over the next 3 months, but it's going to be kind of a slow grind, you're not going to want to choose a particularly aggressive option strategy because it probably doesn't line up with what you're thinking, right? When you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing that. This is just mostly a friendly reminder. There's also going to be a pre-built scanner in here. So if any of these particular sectors has caught your attention, you want to take a closer look real quickly, say you're starting to like the energy sector a little bit more, these will just bring you to a pre-built FinViz scan. These are just trader-friendly stocks. At least that's what I call them. When I get in here, I'm just going to hit this charts button. This is going to get me a bunch of side-by-side charts. These stocks, when I say trader friendly, all I mean is they've got great liquidity, so it's super easy to trade shares. I can trade them, long. I can trade them short. They're very liquid, not a problem trading the equity itself. They are optionable. Well, you always want to check to make sure that option liquidity is there, because sometimes it's not. I would say as a whole, this group of stocks is fairly easy to trade with options, but I would also say there are some that I wouldn't want to trade options on personally, at least. But again, you can always check that liquidity. If you don't know how to do that, you'll learn about that in the Options 101 course. Just an easy way, whether it's through shares or options, I'm going to be able to put together a trade. If something in here I like, I'm going to be able to put together a trade on it. I can just easily kind of browse through a lot of charts really quick. Obviously, I don't think any of us could make a trade off of these little charts. I know I certainly couldn't, but I can see if they're interesting enough to warrant a closer look. I know me, I know what I like. I like breakouts, right? I look at LNG here, got a very clear top, looks like just short of $90. That's probably something I wouldn't mind taking a closer look at on an actual charting platform, right? And maybe you don't like that one, and that's okay, right? But it's just an easy way to quickly work through a bunch of charts, see if anything stands out to you, is worth taking a closer look at, and maybe you find an easy trade. So we'll have that for all of the different sectors in there as well, of course. So that is the newsletter. It really is where we want to start. Because it's so much easier to go with the flow than to try to swim upstream. Coach Cody does our Forex reports each week, where you can highlight the setups for the major pairs, the upcoming economic events that might move those pairs. He does a lot of teaching as well. He's helped a lot of our team members get into Forex just through joining him in his Forex report each week, learning more and more about how to get in and trade that market. Even if you're not super interested in Forex, I honestly believe that if you made the 20 minutes or so each week to listen to Cody's Forex report, 6 months from now, without even realizing it, you'd be have a really good handle on the Forex market. It'd be really easy to go trade it, even if that's all you did. I do think it's worth your time, even if you're not a Forex trader. If you're a Forex trader, I imagine you'll really, really like it. As I mentioned earlier, Coach Mark does the commodity report for us, where he can talk about the technicals, the fundamentals, and the themes of what's going on over in the commodities market. There's a lot of great opportunities, as you can imagine, that present themselves in the world of commodities. And even if you're not trading over on the futures market, there's a lot of things that you can do through the equities market to take advantage of gold or oil prices or copper, right? There's a lot of things that we can do. Mark will talk about those type of things in his commodity report as well. So even if you say, I'm not really interested in trading in over, in the futures market, fair enough. There's still very real reasons to follow along with those major commodities and join Coach Mark in that commodity report. Does a great job on that side as well. The stock and option report are going to be built fairly similar to one another in the sense of how they're built. Now, as you can imagine, they're going to be coming at it more from what their name would suggest, right? So we're in the option report, we're really looking at probably more likely option trades. It doesn't mean I couldn't trade it with stock if that's the route I wanted to go. You can always trade things in the option report with stock if that's the route I want to go. Conversely, in the stock report, you always want to check liquidity anyway, right? That's just a really good habit to get into if you're an option trader. But in the stock report, maybe they aren't the most liquid options. Maybe they're just not comfortable to trade. That might not be the reason it's in the stock report, but it might also be the only reason it's in the stock report. So there's going to be a little bit of a bleed over on that end. But if you do, want to trade something with options in the stock report, check that option chain, check that liquidity, make sure you're comfortable with it. Especially as here in the States, we really have no excuses not to just, hey, that's not options, but we can easily trade shares. Most of us are running with $0 commissions now, right? So I know our friends, outside of the States aren't quite so lucky. But for those of us in the States, it's really easy to trade shares now that we have $0 stock and ETF commissions. So we're going to be building a watch list of potential trade candidates, right? And the candidates are going to be the same type of technical candidates, right? These are technical watch lists, breakouts, retracements, flags, reversals, right? Typical textbook, technical analysis type of stuff. So we're going to build it the same way, because at the end of the day, nobody but me cares if I'm trading Apple with stock or options, right? I just hope I had some Apple this morning because it really, really got running, right? Whether I had bought 12 shares of it whether I had, hundreds of shares of it, whether I bought a call option, whether I've got a bull put, right? Whatever it is, if it was bullish, I wanted in on it, right? So, the technicals are going to be really very similar, right? Because a good setup's a good setup, and the vehicle that I choose to trade that setup, well, that's my business, right? That's up for me to decide. So they'll be built very much the same way in that vein. In the actual report itself, in the options report, of course, we're going to talk some strategy selection, right? Stock report, we're trading the stock, right? And so there's not really any strategy selection to talk. So we can, talk more, overall trading philosophy in the stock report, more technical stuff in the stock report. In the option report, while those things are every bit as important, every bit, never forget that, we're going to talk a lot more about not just the technicals and the management ideas, but also strategy selection. Why would I choose a bull call instead of a bull put in this particular scenario, right? That type of stuff. But we want to make sure our team has quality trade candidates, and no matter what they're trading every week, we'll have both a bullish and a bearish setup list going into the upcoming week. Again, we can kind of talk through some of these things in the video, right? So you have a better idea of where our heads are at as far as that goes. But it's just, we want to make sure that you have some quality trade setups every single week. I can only speak for my personal process, but I know I scan through about 1,000 stock charts every Friday morning as I put together my watch list for the upcoming week and my ideas for the scouting report meeting. And I'm happy to share them with anybody who wants them, right? I'm happy to do so. And we want to make sure that our team, I know not everyone on our team has the luxury to do that, right? Or even if they do, they might not want to. I think that stuff's fun, but not everybody does. So we'll make sure you have some good quality trade ideas. We use these trading view charts in here. So just a couple of quick things. Say we're looking at a Crocs, for example, that's got a little bit of a breakout pattern developing here, right? If I want a little more chart, I can just smack this button right here. This widget button will hide the watch list. Hit it again, it'll come back. So I have a little more chart to work with. If I do my mouse wheel up, I can zoom like I'm zooming up or zooming in. If I mouse wheel down, I can zoom out a little bit so I can get my zoom on a little bit. If I hold my left click down over in the numbers, the dollars, I can scrunch it up or down. So basically, I can get the chart really manageable, right? If I left click in the middle of the chart, I can drag it as much as I'd like to, just so I can get the chart set up the way I want it to get set up, right? It's set up to a default chart, of course, on candlesticks. If you prefer bar charts, I know that's not very popular anymore, but there are still some people who can easily change it. I'm a candlestick guy, like, I think most traders these days, at least most traders I know. The default is to the daily chart, and that's really going to be the default in our reports. These are swing trade candidates. But this little drop down arrow here, if I want to take a look at the intraday, if I want to take a look at the longer term, the weekly or the monthly, can easily change my time frame. If I want to add an indicator or two, just this button right here, do note that the indicators will not save. So typically all I do is add the ATR, the average true range, and I'm not going to add any other indicators. I'll use them on my own charts. If you want to scrunch it down or make it bigger, just kind of hover your mouse over the barrier between the volume and the new indicator. Hold the left mouse button down, and we can scrunch it down or up. I just need I don't need this big. I just need to see this little number over here is all I'm looking for on the ATR. It's okay to add as many indicators as you want, of course, but do note that when you leave, they're going to be gone. So, don't get too crazy unless you're planning on sticking around a while. Nothing worse than setting up a bunch of indicators, leaving, coming back to the page and wondering where they went, right? Well, there probably are things worse, but still pretty annoying. The trend line tool is this one right here. So we can draw, in this case would probably be a horizontal resistance line, right? There's a little breakout candidate here, but we could also, maybe I'm pushing it a little bit, but we'll go with it. Got a little trend line going on here as well. So can draw our lines as we need to. If we don't need them or if we want to get rid of them, just left click the line and hit that trash button, and that'll get rid of that guy for you. What I find probably the most useful thing is this tool right here. This is where we can prep our longer or short trades. So this is a bullish breakout candidate, right? So that'd be a long position. So let's say I'm looking to get into, and I'm just going to be, fairly general, just since this is an example, but I'm looking to come into Crocs. Let's call it 148.34. Right, we'll give it a number there. Right, so that would be my entry. Right now, if that's what it was, that'd be a 1-to-1 trade. Risk reward is 1. Right. Well, what is my target? If I'm trading Crocs, what's my target, right? Maybe you've got a target price in mind of 160, let's say, that's where you see Crocs going on this breakout. Well, now we can see that that's risking $1 to get $1.38, right? So if we wanted to say get our stop loss below this low from last week, which would be a real sensible place for a stop loss, can see that my risk to reward is, for every dollar I'm risking, I have $1.52 in potential profits. Most swing traders, myself included, ask for at least 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio better. So that wouldn't work, right? And so say, well, that's just not going to work for me. I'm not comfortable targeting it further than 160. Maybe you are, right? Maybe 160 was just your first target, right? Maybe I said, well, what if I use today's low for my stop loss instead, right? Sure, I'd rather use last week's little turning point, right? Because we stopped going down and started coming back up. That would be a stronger place for a stop loss, but my risk to reward is not there. If I use, say, today's low, it's going to be 2.5 to 1, right? So for every dollar I'm risking, I have $2.5 potential profit here. That's a much more friendly trade, in my opinion, even though I'm more likely to get stopped out. I got a much better risk to reward that I could work with. So we can do a little bit of maneuvering and just to see what the trade looks like. Maybe you say, Frank, you're a crazy person putting your stop loss that tight. It just won't work, Or maybe you say, Frank, you're a huge wimp. Look at Crocs. Look at that chart. 160 for a target price. What are you, a big wimp, right? So maybe you think it's going to 165, right? But it's really helpful to get that visual. It's really helpful to not have to do the math. I can quickly see, yes, this trade would work risk to reward for me, right? Whether or not I'd want to, dig further or take the trade, that would be, of course, up to me. But it is a big time saver, at least in my opinion. So I do always like to share that one with people because it saves. I can't even imagine how much time it saved me throughout the course of my life. And again, there's going to be the short side of it as well. So that's some of the tools. There's a lot of other things you can do on these trading view charts, of course, but some of the big ones I think you'll find helpful. I imagine you'll still be doing most of your charting in your own platforms, but at least probably the first time you go through the stock or the option report or whatever, you'll probably be going through it, here at Tackle Trading, right? So having an idea of these, how to use these charts, I think can be a little bit helpful, and hopefully that was helpful for you. Again, we'll get these to you by Saturday afternoon. Don't be afraid to prioritize. I would always suggest start with the newsletter, no matter what your, instruments, your trading style of choice is. That top-down analysis is going to be helpful no matter what you're trading. But don't be afraid to prioritize it, right? If you're not trading Forex, I'm not saying don't watch the Forex report, but if you're more of an equity trader, if you're mostly trading stock, I mean, you're probably looking at the stock and the option report first, right? And fair enough, right? Don't be afraid to prioritize it a little bit. So that's going to be those weekend reports. Couple last things before we wrap up here. Let's talk about, back over in the Trade Center, our Tackle Trading Playbook. Right. So I just went through the option report. Maybe I found a trade setup in there that I like, and now I'm trying to figure out how I want to trade it. Right. So in the playbook is where we're going to have all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. We break our strategies into 3 core areas based on the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. Right. Delta is directional trading. Right. So if I think Crocs is going to have a nice run on its breakout up to 170, I want to try to take advantage of that. Right. Or even the 160, I want to take advantage of that. So that might be buying the stock, that might be buying the call option, that might be doing a bull call spread, a ratio spread, et cetera, right? So these delta strategies are movement-based strategies. I think this stock's going to go from point A to point B, right? They're gonna happen strategies, right? Then there's the theta playbook, right? That's going to be our cash flow. That's going to be our covered calls, our naked puts, our credit spreads, so on and so forth. And of course, Vega or volatility, these are going to be where we're playing the volatility and not the direction, right? So I always think about earnings season when I think about Vega or volatility plays, where company XYZ might have a real, good history of moving a lot on earnings, right? Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. How can I know? But maybe based on its history, I think probably a good bet that it's going to happen again. I just would hate to be the guy that picked up when it went down, right? Or whatever. So these are going to be trading the volatility and not the direction of the stock. In all of these, we'll have a video going in thorough detail over, what the strategy is, what our rules for the strategy are, why we would choose that strategy over something else, right? We'll be doing the example on the Thinkorswim platform as well to kind of get the order set up if you need some help from that perspective. There's a little downloadable PDF cheat sheet, if you will, that's, you have easy access to the rules. So you don't have to watch the video every single time, while you're getting, your comfort zone with a particular strategy. You'll also notice that all of them have somewhere between a 0 and a plus or a -3. So kind of piggybacking off our talk in that newsletter, we want to match the strategy to the situation. So I think cat's going to pop, and you think it's going to grind up, I might be more inclined to do something a little bit more aggressive than you, right? I might, just buy some calls, right? Just buy a couple call options on it and let's do this. You might want to be a little bit more conservative. Maybe you like the idea of it working its way up, but you're not quite as aggressive as I am, right? So maybe you'd be thinking about a little more of a little less of an aggressive strategy, right? So if you kind of think about 0 being neutral, 1 would be slightly bullish or bearish, 2 would be moderately bullish or bearish, 3 would be very bullish or bearish. We do want to match the strategy to the situation, right? And unlike the indexes or the sectors, where it's very rare that I'd have, I don't think I've ever had personally, an entire sector at plus or -3. I have individual stocks at plus or -3 all the time. So I do want to, but not always, right? I guess all the time's a stretch, a lot of the time, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I say, wow, this is just a worm burner. It just kind of grindy and goes slow. I've rolled cat before, or cat before, but Crocs before. Sometimes they can just grind with the best of them. I might want to find a strategy that's a little less reliant on a big explosive short-term move, right? So that's kind of what we're doing from that point of view, but hopefully that can get you up and running on those option strategies. So again, that's just in the Trade Center, the Tackle Trading Playbook. As we get wrapping up here today, just a quick other couple of things. We are active on all of the major social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, obviously YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Of course, our YouTube channel has a lot of live content, our halftime report, this webinar, our Wednesday night Trade Masters webinar, but we've got a lot of other stuff over there as well, a lot of how-tos, a lot of walkthroughs, Thinkorswim tutorials, and we're always looking to add more over on YouTube. Our Facebook community has their own tackle trading Facebook group. I'm not a Facebook guy, so you won't see me over on Facebook. It's just not my thing, but I know a lot of people like it. Certainly invite you to join us if you're a Facebook user. I'm more of a Twitter dude myself, so you are certainly, I certainly invite you to come join me and the other Team Tackle members over on Twitter. It's a great place to be able to stay in touch throughout the week, to share ideas, to look at charts together, all sorts of fun stuff. So certainly invite you to join us over on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram as well. We do have a daily email. That is the Tackle Today email each day. If you would like that, just click on Tackle Today. You can sign up for the email right here. We will also post it directly here on the site, but it will get to your inbox faster. I imagine that's just a technology thing. I don't know though. I'm not a tech guy, so but a great little way to get your day started each and every day, and also let you know kind of what the schedule is looking like for the day at Tackle Trading. So that is the Tackle Today email each and every day. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, never hesitate to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. Ask us in the Clubhouse. Get in the Traders Lounge and ask. Hit me up on Twitter and ask. Hit the team up in Facebook and ask in our YouTube chat, whatever it is. We're here for you. And there's a lot of ways that you can reach out and always feel like you're welcome to. That's what a community of traders is all about, helping each other out, right? I can never make your trades for you, but if I can help you, I will. And I imagine you'd probably say the same thing to me. And so never hesitate to lean on your team, to reach out if you need something. We're all in this together. That's what I love about the market. We're all on the same side as far as I'm concerned. You winning, making money in the market, building wealth over time, whatever, that has no impact on me whatsoever. That's not going to hurt my chances of doing the same thing. Probably will help them, but it certainly won't hurt them. It has been an absolute pleasure. Appreciate everybody's time. Those of you new to Tackle Trading, I certainly welcome you to the community. I'm excited to get to know you as the days and turn into weeks, turn into months. If you're just checking us out, seeing what we're all about, I appreciate you as well. We do have a standing offer of a free 15-day trial. You'll find it in the description of any of our YouTube videos, or if you just want to send us an email, we can get you hooked up that way as well. So you can come in, see what we're doing on the back end, see if it's a good fit. And if it is, great. And if it's not, okay, well, you gave it a try, and as I was about. So we do have that standing offer. We'd certainly invite you to take us up on that as well. It's been a pleasure. And I hope it gave you a better idea of who we are and what we're about here at Tackle Trading. I'll let you get out of here. Won't take up any more of your time, whether you're catching this live or the recording a little later in the week. But I do hope it was helpful. If you need anything, reach out. I look forward to getting to know you. I'm sure all the other coaches would say the same thing, as well as all of our other team members, awesome team members from all over the place. It's really fun being part of an awesome trading community. So I certainly welcome you to Tackle Trading. Get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a great week, both in and out of the market. And I will look forward to seeing you all again, one way or another, very, very soon. But until then,